So I have the privilege of being here with Rodrigo Barillas, the executive director of the Luis von Am Foundation. Luis, thank you so much for being with us today. We're really, really excited. And for people that don't know you or the foundation is relatively new, can you share with the audience a little bit more about the foundation, the vision, and why you chose to get involved?
Sure. Hi, Mac, and hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. Yeah, it's a brand new foundation. We've been, in existence for about a year now, and this is Luis's foundation. He began a couple of years ago with thinking that a better way to expand his philanthropy was through a private foundation. He was getting somewhat frustrated with his giving before this. Everyone was asking him for money, right? And he saw no strategy and he saw no impact. And so I was reached out by a member of his team. And to make a very long story short, here I am. I began running the foundation a year ago in September. And it's been a great privilege of mine because it's given me the opportunity to get to know Luis very well, and to understand his vision and his heart, right? His wishes for Guatemala. And the foundation is solely focused in Guatemala, at least for the first 5 years. We've established it that way. And we're a grant making foundation. We decided from the very beginning that we were not going to be implementing any projects, but rather we wanted to partner with nonprofits in the country that had already gained the trust of the communities and knew exactly what they were doing. So technically, nonprofits that were technically very sound, and of course financially well managed, and that's what we decided. And this year has been quite a process, creating our own grant making strategic plan and deciding that we were going to partner with just a few nonprofits, not too many, and we were going to give them significant amounts of money. So anywhere between 10 and 20% of their annual budgets, grants for 5 years, and we were going to increase those grants by 10% every year, so that these organizations could continue growing and could take into account issues like inflation or like salary increases, or just deciding that they wanted to purchase equipment. So yeah, we're in the process of in a sense completing the first year of a 5-year grant making strategy, and I'm very glad, very, very honored to have Planting Seeds as one of the very few grantees that we chose for the next 5 years to partner.
Thank you, Rodrigo, so much. And obviously, thank you so much for the support. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you and working with the foundation. So I always get this question, and as you are Guatemalan and have been on boards of directors in Guatemala and have ran organizations like Wings and others in Guatemala, I always get the question, why Guatemala? Why should kind of people in the U.S. choose to invest in Guatemala and the programming there? And I thought you would probably have a better answer than I've probably given them over the years.
Well, first of all, we live in, we're part of the human tribe, right? I think first of all, we're part of a global network. We don't live in our own little silos. And if we want to be citizens of the world, we should always think of how can we support others, not just locally, but internationally. And of course, I mean, there's the political answer, if you will, that Guatemala is of great interest to the U.S., State Department. Migration continues to be a huge issue. But Guatemala has been a friend of the U.S. for years, and we have definitely had our moments, bilateral moments of historical significance. But there has always been great relationships between our two countries. And it's wonderful to see, at least now, after COVID, so many tourists come back, and so many individuals from the U.S. come back and spend a good amount of time in Guatemala. Unfortunately, Guatemala is a country of many discrepancies. There are huge discrepancies between those that have the most and those that have nothing. I believe that only after Brazil is Guatemala the most unequal country in terms of socioeconomics, right? Um, One of the areas where you work in the Guatemalan city dump, which is the largest dump in Central America. Hundreds of thousands of individuals living there, and it's a red zone. There are no services. The government has no presence, almost no presence, and yet organizations like yours are there doing the work. And I think it's great to support organizations in Guatemala, as you said, are doing the hard work. Um, we unfortunately, again, we have a government that is basically non-functioning, and so those services that should be, basic human rights, like literacy, like education, like health, are not easily accessible by these communities. And so, uh, those of us that have the privilege of having a little extra cash at the end of the month, again, with the understanding that we're global citizens, why not support instances like education, like early childhood development in countries like Guatemala? So that would be my answer.
Thank you so much. Getting to this grant selection process and why the foundation chose to partner with Planting Seeds, I'm sure I want to hear more too, but I'm sure everyone would like to hear a little bit more about what the process was like. You shared a little bit about how selective you were, but the process and why you guys at the end chose to partner with Planting Seeds.
Yeah, absolutely. I've known personally, of Planting Seeds for a few years now, of course. When I was director at Wings, we partnered with Iniciativa Guatemala or Safe Passage, and of course we heard about Planting Seeds as well through that network. I was fortunate to get to know you in the process of this grant and to share a few meals with you. And I'm saying this because a big part of our selection process is to choose organizations that are ran by just spectacular individuals like yourself that we can build relationships with. It's not just the foundation and the nonprofit, but it's us as humans, as individuals. Can we build relationships too? And that was part of my, I'll call it, due diligence in a sense. And like I said, you're just a spectacular human being, and I appreciate you very much. And so that made it that made Planting Seeds go into kind of the second round, right? Now, the administrative process, if you will, was of course much more difficult. We had a list, I want to say about 80 or 90 nonprofits that we had selected. We had not done due diligence on them, but we had selected. We either knew, and when I say we, it's me and my team and I. We either knew or we had references from. And then, of course, as a foundation, we decided we want to partner with about 15 or 20 nonprofits and not more than that. So imagine going from 80 or 90 to an initial group of 30, and then decided, all right, we're gonna cut that in half. But in one of the areas that we focus on, which is women and girls equality, we have education under that. And to Luis, especially to Luis, education is really the silver bullet, right? You all know, about Duolingo and the mission there. And so we decided that the vast majority of our nonprofits, at least a third of the nonprofit partners that we were going to partner with, had to be under education. And I was surprised, but I was really glad at the same time to see that only Planting Seeds was working with kids of that age, early childhood. And so in that sense, it was a no-brainer. You had it all. And then in the due diligence process, of course, understanding your financials and your programs and your methodology, and you just we checked all the boxes, and so you were one of 15 that was chosen, unanimously by the team. So you got it all.
It's really humbling. Thank you, Rodrigo, for the words and the confidence in our work. It means a lot. And so I wanted to touch on a little bit about Planting Seeds' approach, which I spoke about earlier. Which Planting Seeds is expanding our mission to provide more comprehensive support, kind of try to transform our preschools into comprehensive development centers. And you and I have touched base in our meetings about providing wraparound services or complementing work and partnerships. So this includes us partnering with Wings for sexual and reproductive health programs, CAN for nutrition programs, providing book lending programs and parent trainings to really build out these preschool programs we have kind of through the support of the foundation and supporters like the ones on this call. And so what strikes you or what speaks to you about Planting Seeds' approach?
The strategy. You're strategic. You understood that around that child there was a circle, right? There was a network, there was a community, there was it takes a village, right? And you decided that the best approach was to try to bring all these complementary services to not just the child but to the family, and I thought that was just a brilliant move. These centers, and you're in the process of building one, and I can't wait to see the finished product. I think these are going to be palaces in those communities, and you're going to be able to work and support the family, of course, the inner circle, if you will, of that child, and that's just going to create a more holistic opportunity and approach to that child having a better future. So I thought it was brilliant, honestly.
Thank you. This is really, really great interview. I love it. I just want, I know we're short on time. I think we've had a really, really great night with John and now with yourself. I just wanted to leave it open to you. If there's anything else you wanted to add on a variety of things we've touched on or stuff that we haven't touched on to the audience.
Yeah, well, look, everyone on this call, and I'm so happy that everyone is on this call, has something special in their lives and in their hearts. And I was just, going back to your question of why Guatemala. Of course, Luis decided that he wanted to, in a sense, replicate the giving pledge that many billionaires have signed, and he decided that he was going to significantly support Guatemala through his wealth. Of course, we're not as wealthy as he is, of course, but if we have just that little extra to give, I would say look into not just Planting Seeds, but other nonprofits that are doing that work in Guatemala. This is a country worth investing in. It's a population worth investing in, and if education is your thing, just look at the model that you Planting Seeds are creating, and you can visit our website, luisfonanfoundation.org, and at the bottom you'll see the 19 grantees that we chose for the next 5 years. And if any of those appeals to your heart and you have, again, a little extra cash, donate. It's not just about a foundation who has, in a sense, significant amounts of money to give, but how can we all together pitch in and support these efforts so that hopefully we'll have a better tomorrow. So that would be my ask tonight is go and look at others, and just even if you don't want to or you can't donate more, just learn about the work that they're doing and maybe spread the word. So thank you so much, and I appreciate this, Mac. This has been wonderful. Thank you.
No, Rodrigo, thank you so much. we are so thrilled to work with the Luis Van Am Foundation, work with you. And I think one thing that I would just like to echo is the amount of trust that you have shown in us, an organization, and our strategic plan, and our leadership. And we are so grateful for that, to be able to have that trust from you, for being able to work in the communities with the trust from you guys the way we have. So thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. Thank you for what you do. Thank you.